All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Honey Badger Radio. My name is Brian. I'm here with Allison. And this
Mm-hmm.
is another episode of, well, I called it Maintaining Frame because I think it's not a relationships thing, but and Allison doesn't know what I'm going to talk about, like, at all.
Oh, I don't.
At
Okay,
least
all right. That's a
not
good surprise.
really. I mean, not, it's kind of a surprise. Yeah, because we were trying to figure out what we wanted to talk about today. I said, well, let me look around because we were going to do something with Karen, but Karen's not feeling well. So we're going to save that response video that we have planned for hopefully we can do it tomorrow or Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully
Mm-hmm.
Karen will be feeling better really soon. So if you guys, could just, give Karen well wishes. She's under the weather. I don't know what
Mm-hmm.
exactly is wrong. Is it
It's
just
not.
like,
It's not severe.
yeah, it's not
It's
severe.
a bug.
She's just sick. Lindsay is too. She had to call in today, so I don't have to rush to like go pick her up. She's
Ah.
also got like, runny nose, stuffy nose, the whole bit, right? Coughing, sneezing, etc.
Mm.
So who knows what it is? There's probably some, spring bug going around, and it reached Lindsay and Karen apparently. So
Mm-hmm.
anyway, I was trying to find something to talk about, and I saw, well, let me go to the usual suspects. So I went to, like, I looked around on Jezebel, I looked around on The Guardian, I looked around on, the usual places, and then it dawned on me. I was like, what's Mel talking about these days? What's Mel magazine up to, right? Because
Oh
they're
boy.
always good for something, right? Especially
Yeah. Usually.
Miles, yeah, especially Miles Klee, who seems to be like the writer for Mel that we always land on. We're not seeking him out, not trying to
Mm.
bully you. It just so happens that the
We're not
best.
bullying him at all. He's a
No,
public figure making
yeah, we're
statements
not
in
bullying
public, and
him,
we're discussing them.
but I'm not.
It's
I'm not
not bull.
targeting him. I'm
I'm
not
sorry.
targeting
We're
him.
not using the postmodern definition of bullying, which is
Yeah,
exercising. Is saying anything somebody doesn't like if they're in power.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but I'm not. I don't seek him out. I just look at the articles. I find the most ridiculous one, and then I pick it. And it just so happens to be the one he wrote. So that's not my fault. But I'm just my pattern-seeking brain is looking for ridiculous claims on feminist websites, and Miles Klee apparently is the champion of Mel Magazine for doing that. And yeah, in particular, the reason is because he really likes to write articles that attack masculinity, right? Like he whether it's the red pill bros, the manosphere, or even things like liking to be fit, eating meat, liking dogs, things like that, right? Not that I even think any of
Mm-hmm.
those things are particularly masculine, but Miles Klee does happen to believe that eating meat, dogs, like loving dogs, and like, going to the gym, those are all patriarchal things. Being stoic and
Well,
resilient,
I don't know. There seems to be a lot of white women who love dogs. You know,
yeah, well, it depends on the dog, I guess. If it's like, and I'm not
I
throwing you in there
well,
with it
big
because I,
dogs,
yeah, like
big dogs.
maybe he thinks that,
Perhaps a little bit too much, shall we say?
yeah, yeah. No,
Okay,
I mean,
I'm just putting something out there that is so disturbing. I'm not even going to
what?
elaborate on it.
Okay.
Oh, no, that there are some statistics that certain
Oh, I know what you
certain
mean.
demographics of women love their dogs too much.
Yes,
So there you go.
you can find that stuff online, and I don't mean
Yeah,
like
you can find, no,
explicitly,
no, no, no. I mean,
but
it's actually a survey. It's not. I'm not talking about any kind of untoward material. I'm talking about actual science.
no,
And yeah.
I'm not talking about untoward material either. I'm just looking at posts that some women make on social media where they talk about
Hmm.
their dog in a way that takes it to a level beyond pet. That's all I'm saying. Like, it doesn't.
Like marrying their
It's,
dog.
yeah, like, well, just weird, like, it's almost like, lady, either you should have a husband instead, or you should have kids, or both, ideally. And you'd probably feel
Hmm.
a lot better, and you
Yeah.
wouldn't give your dog like discomforting levels of affection. So
Yeah,
I-
let's put it that way. So I don't know. I have a doubt on this idea that loving dogs is just a male thing. I think there are a lot of women who also love dogs. I mean, I have a
Sure.
dog, and he's adorable. He's totally sold me on dogs. Although I think he's a very unique dog. So there
We
you go.
all we all do. We all do.
Yeah. Oh,
I
I'm
know
sure you all
I
do.
know for a fact that JoJo is a unique dog, so but
Mm.
anyway, that aside. So I'm looking at Miles Klee, and he has this article from Mel magazine um where he talks about this trend, this rising trend on social media, in particular on YouTube, but not exclusively. And it has a name. It's called, like, in general, there are some other versions of this meme, but it's reject modernity, embrace masculinity. And I've seen a couple of these videos and other things that have been like circulating, and at first it was just like a one-off thing that I saw, and I was like, oh, well, that's kind of interesting. And then I watched the video and I thought, well, that I kind of like, it got my blood pumping. And it was originally these videos that are called Reject Modernity, Embrace Masculinity. They were in part kind of they were for people who were like, guys that were really into fitness and going to the gym. And it was supposed to get you like sort of, riled up and like ready to go and do some lifting or whatever, get your gains, right?
Do you think that YouTube might hit us for this, for nudity, though?
Maybe I'll just hide it.
Yeah.
Okay, so
we gotta be
I
extra
know
careful.
it's very borderline. So so anyway, so this guy Miles Klee, he frames this saying, he writes this article entitled "Reject Modernity, Embrace Masculinity is a new low point for meatheads. How a culture war meme turned into a bodybuilding slogan."
In my head. Oh, that's what we're doing. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh, Mel.
But
you.
but the thing is, I have a couple of quotes that I highlighted from the article that we could read through. But all this did was it made me want to look up these videos. These videos on YouTube. I've seen a couple in passing, but like, there's not a lot there, but they're kind of neat. And so I looked it up on YouTube. And here's the thing, and I think this is what is interesting. First of all, there's a lot more of these than I thought. Second of all, they're all being uploaded by different people that have like different levels of reach. So it's not like one guy, with one YouTube channel, and all he does is make these like reject modernity, embrace masculinity videos. They're different people. Thirdly, and I think what's really fascinating is that some of these videos have like millions of views, at least 600,000 views, but the channels are tiny. So the channels themselves may have less than like 1,000 subscribers, or maybe they have something like 10,000 at most. But the videos that this is like are going all over the place. They're like going really, really viral, which made me think that must be the reason that this guy wrote the article, because it's basically like getting a lot of reach, right?
All falling into place.
Yeah, it's all falling into place. Why would he bother to make a video about some, meme, essentially, that looks like it's just supposed to encourage men to go to the gym and work out? But the reason is that it's not just that. So let me show you something, because I think what's happening here is that young men in particular they're expressing a sentiment. There's something that they're trying to reach for, something that they're trying to aspire towards, that modern society, that's why they say reject modernity, is trying to, in their minds, push them away from. Okay. So I have a couple of clips, and it's important to note that these things are, in terms of their content, they're not just guys lifting weights and bodybuilding. There's a lot of other things that are being displayed. So I'm gonna turn off the music. It's not that important. The music is just sort of like,
Oh,
elect.
before we continue,
Yeah.
though, I do have an important, like,
Oh
we
yeah.
do
Go
have to
ahead.
do the business. We do
Yeah,
the
we do.
business of the business, right? Okay, so we are doing our monthly fundraiser. I apologize for putting it all at the end of the month. Although, to be honest, you guys seem to respond best to that. Maybe it's because, excuse me, at the end of the month, you know how much you have left in your budget. So you don't have to worry about that. But regardless, we are doing our fundraiser, and we're going to be doing our final push over the weekend. We have, let me see what we got left. We have 2,605 funded out of 4,250. So that means we have about $1,645 left to go for the month. And like I've said multiple times, every little bit helps. So the effort is really what matters, and what I
Hmm.
appreciate. I mean, I really appreciate the people who put in a significant amount, of course, because that does a lot to cover the bills. But I know that everybody's finances are what they are, and what really matters is taking the effort to support the show. And like, if you can't do it through a pledge of in $5, $10, whatever you can manage, then share it, like it, send it to your feminist aunt, have her have something that she can chew over, to think about, and you can support the show that way. But if you would like to support and join our very generous donors and make sure that we can continue to create this content, then go to feedthebadger.com/project/badger-media-blitz and put a few shekels in the hat. You can also go to Feed the Badger and follow the pop-up, because the pop-up will take you there. I will, I suppose, do some arm twisting when we get to, let's say, 45 minutes in, because I think we started a little late. And I'd also like to remind everybody that you can send, if you want to send us a comment and have us look at it, read it out online, and send us a tip during the stream, you can go to feedthebadger.com/justthetip. And some of you clever supporters have managed to do both. So you go and you put something into Feed the Badgers, the monthly fundraiser, and then you trot over and put in a tip into your card as well, and then you send us a message and we read it. So that's something else you can do. Somebody managed to do that. I believe that we have to read his super chat on air, because
When did
it is
that
in.
happen? Did I miss it?
Yeah, you missed it. I think it was like yesterday. Yeah, it was yesterday sometime.
Okay.
You'll see it because it's unusual, and I don't know if Hannah read it out because nobody said done in the Superchow
Oh, you're talking
channel.
about the super
Yeah.
chows.
Yes, the Superchow.
Uh, I
Should
can't
I
look
say that
at it.
over
I can't.
again?
I can't. No, no, no. It's okay. You said super chat the last time you
You
mentioned
can't
it.
look at the Superchow
No, no, no.
channel.
If I can on my phone or something. If I switch to the Super Chow channel right now,
Oh,
then our cameras will not be displayed because I'm currently capturing the
that's what's
cameras.
going on. That's the
Yes,
chaos that's going on. All right, I
because I
gotcha.
have to I have
Yeah,
to window capture within Discord.
You're,
So
we're giving you all like a little peek into the
yeah.
shoebox full of wires that is Honey
So
Badger Radio.
if there is a Super Chow, you'll have to read it because I can't
Okay,
unless you want me to just look
I'll
at my
keep an eye on
phone.
that.
All
I'll keep
right.
an eye on the super chows. So if you want to send in a super chow and watch us scramble, then go to just the tip. Feedthebadger.com/just the tip. And if you want to help us out for the month, feedthebadger.com/project/badger-media-blitz. And again, I'll be doing some arm twisting at 45 minutes in. So get those pledges in. $5 really helps. Like, just take
Mm-hmm.
the effort. I really
Anything.
appreciate it. So
Yeah.
anything. All right,
All
let's
right,
do it.
so let's get back to it. So like I mentioned before, these things are going really viral everywhere. They are very popular with young guys, and they are there's so much reach and interest in this that like this obviously got the attention of Miles Klee, who wanted to make a sort of hit piece to criticize it. Hence he's saying, oh, you know, this is just meathead trash, right? And that, which is of course why I took an interest in it. I was gonna mention one other thing. All these videos are pretty recent, so they're all like, you know, some uploads are like a month old, some are 2 months old, some, you know, they're not usually more than like a year old. So this is a recent thing too, which is also really interesting. It's like things are coming together, and the content creators that are putting these videos together are from all over the world. So like you can look in their channels and you'll see some that are written in some, you know, like block, like some Eastern Bloc language that I'm not sure if it's Russian or Ukrainian or whatever. Or you'll see some that are written in Indian, some that are written in, you know, Israeli, some that are in English, obviously. So there is like as I said, Spanish ones. There does seem to be young men, probably Zoomers and millennials, that are expressing a sentiment that they all happen to be on the same page at the same time, and it's all like coming together in this kind of organic way. Okay, so let's look at a couple of clips. The music would probably get us in trouble, so I'm not going to play it, but you don't need it because there really isn't much in the way of sound. So here we go. So this starts off showing us Belle Delphine, who is an ethot that I've talked about on the show before. But here's the thing that's interesting about it. Like, you know, here we have a TikTok video where this trans guy is saying that trans guys can wear skirts. And here is a woman saying that, you know, if you are going to go to the gym with the express purpose of making yourself look better, then that is fat phobic, I believe is what she says. Yeah, you are fat phobic. And I'm going to just jump ahead. There's basically like thottery and stuff. And, but I want to show like what it is that they're trying to like grasp at. So here's this guy named Aziz. He was a personal trainer. I guess he was pretty well known on YouTube. He died of a heart condition. He had like a heart condition that ran in his family. And he is kind of like one of the like central, you could say, heroes or figures of these videos, because he sort of reemerges over and over. And he has this thing where he says, you know, he talks to the men that are watching his content and he says, we're going to make it, boys. It's going to be all right. And that was like his message, right? So he has a lot of admirers. And then, of course, we show some video footage of, you know, athletes, Muhammad Ali, bodybuilders like Schwarzenegger, like in his prime, you know. But there's other stuff too. It's not just like getting swole. It's like male excellence, right? Here's like some weightlifter. I don't even want to think about that, but that sucks. But like, yeah, here's a guy who's, I guess he like beat some record, and we have all these other male figures. There are also, it's not, like I said, it's not just bodybuilders, it's not just athletes, it's not just scenes from action movies. There are also videos of men working on oil rigs, you know, that are used in this. There are men who are, you know, working on skyscrapers, like sitting on the I-beams. You know, there are firemen, soldiers, all kinds of this sort of romantic male imagery, right? I think that's Mike Tyson, like jacking some guy up. Yeah, I think so. I don't know if it is. And then it's Muhammad Ali and you know, stuff like that, right? And this is like every video has content like this. It starts off by showing the world as these guys perceive it, you know, which I guess they're expressing a sentiment that it's either not masculine or anti-male, and they'll use feminists on TikToks that are basically making claims about men, or they'll use this article. So here's an article that they show that's entitled "Dear Men, Stop Working Out. Physical fitness creates a cycle of toxic masculinity that must be eradicated." And they sort of highlight that. and then they go and they show, like this mukbang guy who is a very, I guess he's really famous, for essentially just stuffing his face with gross food, and then he cries. And, it's it's sad. I don't know much about him, but that's not appealing. And then you have really unhealthy people, and they're engaging in strange fetishes and so on. And this guy from a kind of woke, video, like a BuzzFeed video, saying it's okay to be weak. And
no, it's not.
These guys are not. All, yeah, go ahead.
The mediocre realities of men are that. What do you mean by weak? Do you mean recognizing the vulnerabilities that men have to society and women? Because that's just recognizing the vulnerabilities that men have to society and women. And people on that particular philosophical landscape certainly don't want men doing that.
Yeah.
Like, what do you mean by weak? Do you mean just a doormat? I think that's what they mean. Like they just mean incapable, wretched.
Possibly, or they believe that, like, how men. What I guess is really weird about it is that I think that the people who make this claim that, oh, it's okay to be weak, it's okay to cry, it's okay, to do all that, right? Because they're supposedly fighting toxic masculinity. They somehow believe, and they have been led to believe, that women will find that attractive because men do what they think women will find attractive. And I think that a lot of feminist women have got men, that are feminist men, to believe that this kind of like weakness, which I don't think is the same as being able to recognize when you're in pain. But they've internalized that as something that is a virtue because feminists have told them it will be, even though those feminists are not at all interested in those men, not at all. And so they'll tell them, yeah.
You embrace the feminist ideal of manhood, and feminists won't find you attractive. In fact, they're probably the least likely to find you attractive because they are totally unself-aware.
Yep.
But yeah, like, what do they mean when they say weakness? Because they say things like men should be able to cry. And when I say they, I mean people who are part of the philosophical tradition, thought tradition, where men have constructed society for their own benefit at the expense of women. And I can hear them in the comments now saying, we don't believe that. Well, then your entire corpus is bullshit. Like, at some point you have to accept that is what you are saying when you talk about patriarchy in the way that you talk about patriarchy incantation in the way that you talk about it. Like, patriarchy incantation basically means is the assertion, is the incantation that men have constructed society for their own benefit at the expense of women. It's more than just that men occupy the positions of risk and leadership, but then men occupy those positions of risk and leadership and do so for their own benefit. That's where male privilege comes from. And that's the foundation of toxic masculinity, right? Okay. You can't get away from it. That's the implications of your entire incantation, your grimoire, shall we say. It's the feminist grimoire. And because I don't want to use the term philosophy, I don't want to use the term system or ideology, because it's not. It is magical thinking, and that is the polite way of putting it. It's abusive thinking. But regardless, the people who engage in that, in all of the grievance studies, incantations, are the same people who say, well, men should be weak or men should be able to cry. They just don't acknowledge that men have anything to cry about.
That's right. That's right. That's right. Yeah, exactly.
These self-contradictory people.
Yeah, and it's really manipulative. Like it's setting them up for catastrophic failure, and they're not going to support them when those men, essentially follow those rules and find themselves, sick
with a gun in their hands and draft it.
Yeah, exactly. But I want to show.
Will always be the situation for men. I know. I wish that wasn't the case. I honestly wish that we didn't as a species think that men should die if it's a choice between men dying and society dying. Well, maybe these societies should die instead. But no. It's something so baked into us. I can't see that ever changing, however much that I wish it would. But at the very least, we could be honest about it. Yeah, sure,
Yeah.
men can be weak, except if you're a man and your country demands it of you, you will be drafted and you will have a gun in your hand and you will expect to fight, die, and kill or die. That's the truth. And it's the unmitigated, immobile truth of reality. And everybody who talks about gender fluidity or gender is a spectrum or there's no gender binary, you say that when the chips come down, when we are a society facing existential death. You say that then, because I can tell you there will be a gender binary, and there has always been a gender binary, and it will never not be a gender binary. And that gender binary is who gets drafted.
Yep.
You want to change the gender binary? You want to actually get rid of the gender binary? Then there shouldn't be a demarcation between these people get drafted and these people don't, because that's the real one. That's the one that exists for sure when the rubber hits the road. Okay, a little bit of a rant. Go ahead.
Okay, so anyway, let me get to the next bit. So they have the guy saying, it's okay to be weak, and then this guy, he's saying weakness is a choice. Now, and I think it's important that you guys get this, because it looks like just like, gym bro stuff, but it's not that simple. There is a romantic masculine that is being expressed, like a desire to find something to aspire towards. And I'm going to show you with this next clip, okay? So here is a very thin, he might even have like a disability man that's trying to deadlift this weight. And here is a trainer or coach or friend or something that is essentially there to, essentially support him. And I want you to see this because I thought it's a very good example of, the good of men. He's struggling to pick this up. The guy's like encouraging him, come on, you can do it, right? And he gets it up and he does the deadlift and he drops it. And then all the other men come out and they offer support and they give him hugs. And then he goes on to show a bunch of other, high achieving men. There goes the cosmonaut. I think he was the first man to go into space, right? So it's not just like being alpha bro stuff. It's like, here's some athleticism. Oh, the black guy who beat the Nazi at the Olympics, right?
I can tell you something, that going into space, when going to space meant strapping a steel bathtub to a freaking bomb, that actually was a damn achievement for men. Mm-hmm. I notice now that the space is getting more and more like a flight. Suddenly more women are doing it, but when space was all about strapping yourself to, like a tin can on top of a goddamn bomb, very, very, no women were involved. And there was a reason for that, because society wouldn't have accepted women being blown up. Like in the 50s, literally, if there was one woman who had to die for Apollo was it Apollo? Goodness. Well, I'll just use the Apollo. But for the Apollo missions to happen, there's one woman who had to die. They wouldn't have done it. They would not have done it. No. But those fighter pilots that were testing, those test pilots, they were dropping like flies. But it was okay because they were men. You have to understand
remember
that.
The cosmonaut is the first guy to go to space and come back. There were plenty of guys that went to space and didn't come back.
Came back in pieces.
Or more or less.
If you're going to promote this whole feminist idea that women are so sacrosanct that they can't even handle just a double entendre in their ear, like just a double entendre about sex. I mean, they're
Mm-hmm.
so fragile, and you can't even allow a woman to have the least amount of discomfort when she sees an acronym that goes TITS. And she's like, no, you can't allow women to even suffer that little amount of discomfort. How are you ever going to tolerate anything that requires women to die horribly in order for it to be achieved?
Yeah.
And how are you going to create a society that can tolerate women dying horribly for something to be achieved? If you can't even manage, like, oh, if a woman's ear balls are slightly impacted by the mildest of double entendres, sexual double entendres, that can't even be allowed. A woman can't feel a single speck of discomfort in her life. Otherwise, it's horrible misogynies. How are
Yeah.
we going to have a society in which we can say, oh, yeah, Mary died Tuesday, Sue died Wednesday, Tanya died Thursday. We're doing pretty well. We're probably going to be killing about another dozen women, but we'll get to our goal. You think you're going to? No, you're not. It's a joke. You're all jokes.
Yeah.
You think that you're questioning a damn thing and you're not. This is what's so annoying about the so-called gender progressives. They are regressives and they question nothing and they're going nowhere except backwards. Okay.
Yep. Okay. Anyway, so here we have, like I said, the Olympics. We have I don't know, is that Julius Caesar? Maybe, I don't know. So it's
it might be Augustus. I don't know. It might be a Julius Caesar.
Yeah, it might be a Julius Caesar. But and then we got Martin Luther King, we got Nikola Tesla, Isaac Newton. I don't know who that is. I don't know all these guys. But it's not just.
Yeah, I was right. It was Augustus.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Augustus. Okay. Gandhi. Right. So it's not just like I said. These are examples, positive masculine examples. That's what they are. Mm-hmm. Okay. Contemporary. Some are ancient. It doesn't matter. Right. Let me look. It just keeps going.
Yeah.
And you got guys in the military, you got guys in construction, you got this guy in a wheelchair that does an incredible backflip, which someone I think mentioned in the chat that this had happened. And of course, there's everyone, all the men commenting, they're all celebrating that. They're all enthralled by that. It's the acknowledgement of, I guess, masculine achievement. So that, and I think that, and of course the Mel Magazine guy, he doesn't like this. Why? Why no, why doesn't he? Yeah.
Let's find out. What is so offensive about this?
Also, there's a lot of video clips of sportsmanship. Guys that are, they may be competitive, but they're friends afterwards. What?
Are they actually is this something Muslim? Is one of them a Muslim?
Maybe. I don't know. Maybe. I'm not really a big UFC guy. Maybe someone in the chat knows, but it does look like they're either preparing for the fight and they're coming together, or one of them is a Muslim and the other one's honoring that, or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
So it's pretty dope. And then we have pilots. Because like I said, they do all kinds of things. This guy, I think he wins the gold medal here, and he completely has an emotional, moment after lifting that. And, again, this is just, and here's another one. This guy wins a judo match or something, and he carries the other guy out because the guy is, injured. But he wants to take care of him. So, these are this is cool shit. I mean, to me, and of course, okay. So what does Mel Magazine have to say? So he starts by, oh yeah, go ahead. We have to do some arm twisting.
Everybody. Yeah, I got to do some arm twisting because nobody has put anything through yet. Please go to Feed the Badger. Just take the time and go to feedthebadger.com/project/badger-media-blitz. $5, $10, every little bit helps us make sure that we can keep our channel running. So please, excuse me, I'm having sort of feeling a little ill today, so I apologize for this. Um, but yeah, please go to feedthebadger.com/project/badger-media-blitz and put a few shekels in the hat. I will do some call outs. And again, if you want to send us a message, that's feedthebadger.com/just-the-tip. All right, let's do it.
Okay, so I got a super chat from Dean Domino for $4.99, and they say, "Glad to see you back, Badgers. Have you seen the ridiculous hit piece against Rakita, Yellow Flash, and Umbrella Guy by Mel Magazine?" No, I haven't, but I wouldn't be surprised. So, like,
welcome to the club.
Yeah, welcome to the club. Does it have something to do with the Johnny Depp Amber Heard thing? Because I know that those guys are very, very involved with that, as well as the Vic Mignogna story.
Maybe we should cover it.
Yeah, we should probably take a look at it sometime. Okay, so here's what Mel Magazine says. And someone in the chat said that bow was like a Muay Thai bow that they do before they fight. So it was basically showing respect to your opponent, which I think in general, men, despite the narratives that are put out, that's what they like. So, all right. Reject modernity, embrace tradition, or reject modernity, embrace masculinity. There's a couple different variations on it. Has become a slogan of the far right, and especially the proponents of what is sometimes called the Dark Enlightenment, people who scorn ideals like liberal democracy and civil rights, yearning for the institutions of monarchy and Christian absolutism.
Really, that's a lot to read into this.
Yeah, it is. He's bringing a lot of stuff in to these videos that just show like Arnold Schwarzenegger flexing his muscles and lifting weights, and like the Spartans in the movie 300. Yeah.
How do you know they don't want to go back to Greek god absolutism?
Yeah, well,
Norse paganism. Let's get some Sons of Odin in here. You know,
they
that
also,
kind of thing.
yeah, though they also want that too, because there was this new film that recently came out by Eggers called The Northman, which is sort of a Viking revenge story along the lines of The Count of Monte Cristo. And apparently people like feminist types, they have written about it saying, oh, this is being showered with praise by the far right, which is basically like guys who like manliness in movies. That's basically what it is. So this isn't about what they're saying it's about. It's about masculinity, because that's what these young people are talking about. That's what they're expressing.
They say they hate masculinity in men, but I think they also hate it in women too, to be honest.
They do. They do.
Like a real, maybe masculinity is the wrong word for it, but a real ability to have that kind of attitude of recognizing the consequences of your actions and taking responsibility for them. That kind of thing they definitely don't like in women. And I would say that is called a more masculine gender expression. I know that Sargon sort of said that we need to maybe have a different way of referring to it, but I can't think of another way. It's very Jungian. Like there's some masculinity in every woman. There's a masculine animus in every woman and a feminine anima in every man. That kind of thing. But regardless, they don't like it in women either.
Yeah, no, they don't.
The truth is that I don't think they like femininity, really.
No, I don't think so. I don't think so.
They don't like masculinity. What they like is the undifferentiated state of childhood.
Yes.
Which is neither masculine nor feminine. It's just the person who listens and obeys.
Yeah.
And has no ability to articulate their own point of view or see how their actions affect the outcomes in the greater world. So,
Yep.
But but carry on.
Okay.
I guess with this.
Yeah.
Go on.
So yeah, he's basically already like linked a bunch of stuff to it that isn't even mentioned in the comment sections on any of these videos. I thought I would look to see if there was any of that. There is none of that. It's just there are men in there, and I only assume they are men because they totally get it and they're not like starting their sentences with as a woman. So I'm just going to presume that they're men. And because the women who do comment, they say as a woman. first, right? Or woman here, you know, so mostly men, they're in support of it. And then occasionally you get these, you know, gender abolitionists that'll be in there saying, well, what even is masculinity? You know, but like no one, they get ignored. People just say, you know what? I know what I am. You can't, like, you know, mess with that. I like this stuff. That's okay. I mean, that's literally, it's okay to be male is like the whole message, right? And of course, the Mel magazine, they just hate it. So anyway, in memes and videos, they contrast everything they hate about today, gender fluidity, junk food, well, people who are tremendously unhealthy, like that guy, that mukbang guy, who makes a lot of appearances in these videos. He's probably going to die if he keeps doing that. I mean, like there are
why is he doing it? Just for fame? Like
for e-fame, for clicks, I can assume. And the thing is, when he started out, he was a thin dude. So literally he put on all this weight doing this content, and it's making him sick. And he shouldn't do it. It's probably, I think it's affected his mood and everything, right? So, and I think his partner, because he's gay, so his partner also like got involved, and they're both massive, like hugely unhealthy. You know, they don't do any exercise. They drive around on those scooters in the Walmart to grab their bags of chips, and that's their life. And I think that there are, it's your choice, right? I'm not saying that that's right or wrong.
I wouldn't even, like, I feel bad when people feed dogs diets like that.
Yeah, I know. Or they try to feed their dogs vegan food, because I've seen that. It's the worst. Do not, your pets are not vegan, okay? They eat what they eat. So cats and dogs, I mean, dogs will eat anything. Cats are I think they're specifically carnivore. So
yeah, they won't. I would be surprised that any cat would allow itself to be vegan.
Yeah,
but
no. I've seen it though. I've seen people say my cat's vegan. Like, you're gonna kill your cat. That's animal abuse.
I love how our culture. I love how our culture. You know, like we have this extremely, like, I'll be honest, no offense. This is an extremely white culture. That all of this, like the feminism, the veganism, shit's extremely white. And it's interesting to listen to these white so-called progressives talk about how any day now, you know, people in our very wealthy white culture are just gonna sublimate into beings of pure whiteness. Because this is what they're talking about. That they're just getting rid of all of this animalistic stuff that's just, it's just not part of this culture. And at the same time, they don't realize of how unbelievably culturally chauvinistic they sound. Because all of this comes from this culture. And I mean, okay, let me bring it down to brass tacks. How many times has this insanity come from some of the whitest people in the world?
I mean, I you know, you got to trace it all the way back, but I think that a lot of this stuff comes from Europe. Yeah.
Yeah.
Europe,
like
Eastern Europe, France.
Well, maybe not so much
France.
Eastern Europe. France, I'll give you France.
Yeah.
Not so much Southern and Eastern Europe, but it's like this is white culture, you know, and we have constructed this culture that is very much very chauvinistic, very self-hating, and at the same time very chauvinistic and very, in many ways, like crypto white supremacist. And we're shoving it all around the world, and we're shoving it into people's faces. And these are cultures that don't agree with the idea that gender is fluid. They don't agree with necessarily having the gay identity politics in their cultures. And we are saying that they're lesser than we are. Is what I'm getting at. This may be a little bit too much of a complicated to articulate. So
no, I follow. I follow. It's a bit of a tangent though.
Yeah,
but
you're
yeah,
right.
I follow. Okay.
I'm getting into the unbearable whiteness of being.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I'll stop
okay.
now.
So anyway, in memes and videos, right, they contrast everything they hate about today, gender fluidity, junk food, social justice advocates, with whatever they found cool about the past. Idealized representation of European whiteness. Remember, we just watched a video that showed Muhammad Ali, Mike Tyson, Martin Luther King, Gandhi, but this guy has a narrative. He has a thread that he needs to spin.
And also the black
right?
athlete that was
Yeah,
giving
and
the gold medal.
that literally beat the Nazi in the Olympics. Yes. Yeah.
I think that's, I think, yeah, that's not this narrative. All right. Okay.
No, but the thing is, this is the narrative he's trying to push out. It's obviously not accurate. Plus, again, like I said before, the content, the videos, they're being made by men all over the world. So they're not, it's not an American thing. It's not a Western thing, right? It's not a white thing. It's a male thing. It's a male thing. Okay. So anyway, he goes on. It's a childish understanding of how life was lived in 1800 or 1600, going no deeper than the aesthetics of painting and architecture from those periods. But it props up the notion of ours as a fallen or corrupted time. It's also a shortcut to straight up Nazi content. In this edit, degeneracy becomes a synonym of modernity. Yeah, because if you see a photo of a black guy winning a gold medal at the Olympics and defeating a Nazi, clearly that's the Nazi pipeline right there. You're supposed to like the guy in third place or whatever it was. And of course, he digs up this like image from Reddit. It's probably more a joke than anything else. But of course, these guys don't understand humor.
Is that more like, is that 80s stuff?
Yeah, it's kind of like...
Oh, you've got to be kidding. They put that on a Nazi?
Yeah, it says reject degeneracy, remember tradition. And it's from our reactionary politics. I don't go there. I don't really care. But like, here's the thing. I think that stuff like this exists just so they get a reaction. That's it. It's just to get a reaction. And when they react...
How much of it? Yeah. How much of this is genuine? Like, really? Yeah.
Or exactly, like if you're on Reddit, like, but you see, this is this guy's lifeblood. Like, oh, this is good. I have this. I'm going to use this imagery, right? But like these videos, they're nothing like that. Here, I'll play another clip from another one. It doesn't matter which one. Oh, I gotta lower the volume. Sorry. There's just loud music. But here, guys lifting weights. Is that a black guy? I don't see a Nazi here. Guys playing soccer. They're probably all like South American or some shit, right? Some guy catching a football. This is all just like, there's Michael Jordan. Like probably not just the best basketball player, but probably the best athlete. And not just because of his physical ability, but because Michael Jordan is interesting because he wasn't just good at playing basketball. He was also a good man. He knew that as a dude at the top of his game, okay, that there were people looking to him to be an example, and he was that. It's not like is it like LeBron or Kobe? Well, I mean, I don't know about Kobe, but like LeBron James, he doesn't have that. He might be a better basketball player, but he wasn't Michael Jordan. So when they show this example, I think that they know that Michael Jordan isn't just a good athlete. He was a good man, and or at the very least, his public image was. I mean, we may never know about his private life, but this is what they admire. There's nothing like that implies any racial supremacy. Here's Muhammad Ali beating the shit out of this guy. And here's Mike Tyson beating the shit out of this guy. And and you have like I said, guys just doing guy shit, getting things done. So anyway, he tries to poison the well. This doesn't mean, however, that we're short on trad freaks who want to return, sometimes styled return with a V for Latinate effect, to a theoretical lost utopia. I don't think anyone's claiming that. Whether that means a cottagecore fantasy with an angelic blonde maiden churning butter, or some kind of militaristic nation state where buff semi-naked dudes can practice their spear throwing all day. It's the latter concept that seems given to the rise to reject modernity, embrace masculinity. He's referring to say, like,
Oh,
you know,
Mel Magazine has discovered homo nationalism.
yeah.
I wonder how they're going to square that one. Oh, could you go back up? Because somebody caught my eye. The Johnny Depp
this,
trial. No, keep going. Look at that. Look at that.
this
Johnny
one,
Depp,
Johnny Depp, men's rights hero. Yeah, we may have to do that one later.
Yeah, an abused man fights back, and I honestly, at this point, I'm looking at the evidence. I'm pretty sure he was the one who was abused.
Oh yeah,
like,
but
it's incontrovertible.
Yes,
and the fact that you're making Johnny Depp a men's rights hero, that says something.
Thanks.
That really says something.
Appreciate it. Yep.
Appreciate it. Maybe he'll see that. He'll come on our show.
Well, you know, no, there's no way. The actual, this response, this like overwhelming response coming from, you know, like Me Too advocates, feminists and stuff that are trying to support Amber Heard, if they're not bots, because there's a lot of bots doing that. It's actually red pilling, not just like the trial itself is red pilling, but like the response is also making guys who make content that's just sort of pop culture related, like That Umbrella Guy or Yellow Flash, or, you know, these guys that don't know about the men's rights conversation. They don't watch the content. They're not really aware. They don't understand feminism, right? They're just guys who are fans of Johnny Depp, or and then they looked into, or they're Nick Rikita, who just believes in, you know, the law and due process and fairness. And so like they're going into this and they're being attacked by feminists on Twitter and bots on Twitter. And they're like, well, why are you attacking me? I thought we wanted to find the truth. And now they're going down these same rabbit holes and they're learning, you know, like statistics about domestic violence, like real useful statistics, right? That men suffer from too, and the ways that women abuse and all of that. And so like, of course, Mel Magazine wants to frame anyone who is basically saying, I believe that Johnny Depp was abused. The evidence looks like he was. I don't think that this case is that simple. And of course, they're being attacked as men's rights activists because that's an insult. And now those guys, I think that like That Umbrella Guy, someone tagged you in a post he made or something a while back where he said, what's wrong with men's rights? Like he didn't understand why that was such an absurd thing to claim. And of course, he got bombarded, right, by feminists for even saying that. So it's interesting. I think there is.
Did he concede to them?
No, I don't think he did, but I haven't looked at his Twitter in a while.
I don't actually. I might be different than other people. I don't think anybody should call themselves a men's rights activist unless they're ready for it. But if somebody's saying, "Oh, you're advocating for men," that makes you a men's rights activist. Just say, yes, insofar I'm advocating for men, I am a men's rights activist, and just move on. You don't have to assume the label, but don't let them use that label to manipulate you to stop advocating for men. That's it. I mean, that's one of the reasons why I assumed the label, was because I didn't want to see people, and I didn't want to be manipulated out of advocating for men because I was a men's rights activist. There's nothing wrong with that. And it doesn't actually apply to a theory about reality. It doesn't apply to any kind of necessary solution, like, oh, we're all going to go back to Christian fundamentalism.
Yeah, no.
Fundamentalism or something like that.
Yeah.
No, it's just the act of advocating for men. That's it.
Yep, that's it. It's just something that you do. It doesn't.
It's something that you do.
I don't even call myself an MRA. I just say this is what I believe, and then they label me an MRA, and I'm like, well, whatever you want to call it. I don't see how that. Yeah, I don't see how that matters. Like, you know, am I saying something right or wrong? Because that's what matters. Not what I identify as. I'm not concerned with what I identify as. So it doesn't matter to me. All right, so I got some super chats.
Although if that is to
Mhm.
Rose wrist, that we definitely identify as intersectionalists. So
Yeah,
at least
exactly.
me.
No, of course, of course. No, no, no. He insists that because if you absorb the label, then I think that they believe they can control you. It's like learning the true name of a demon or something. But it doesn't work that way. I'm sorry. This isn't Harry Potter. Read a different book and
Mm.
let's just talk about what we believe, period. And if you disagree with me, then you're probably wrong, but you're allowed to be wrong. So, okay, super chats. Amasang gives us $2 and says, "Return to Mankey, hashtag Pokemon." All right, I don't know Pokemon, but thank you for the super chat. Zeranx gives us $5 on Rumble, gives us a Rumble rant, thank you, and says, "Is that why the groomers act as they do? They try to force people to eschew sex and confuse gender to make people more childlike, and then everyone is moldable. Does that make sense?" Well,
Yes.
I was gonna say I think it's how they reproduce. As weird as that is, it's ideological reproduction, and I think that's what it is. If you get people to be as you are, then you feel less troubled by your identity
Okay.
choices because there are more people who feel the same
I
way.
like you. Yeah, yeah. Misery loves company. Well, okay, let's psychologically, at least from what I've seen of the unfeminist tainted psychology, there is four gender expressions. Um, one is masculine gender orientation expression. One is feminine gender orientation. The masculine gender orientation expression is seeing yourself or identifying with their actions in the greater world. If it's, and you can have bad or good aspects of that. A bad aspect is simply really loving explosions because you can blow shit up, right? And that can be bad. I mean, it can also be fireworks, right? And then the female gender expression orientation is to internalize. So you experience things and then you express them. And that's a feminine way. And it's necessary for drawing boundaries so that you know when people are impacting you in negative, asking things that are unacceptable. But it can also lead to incredible sexism and the inability to differentiate between something, a consequence as a result of your choice that you have to own, and a consequence that's an unfair consequence that we would consider to be a result of a criminal activity. So you can see where that would become a problem.
Mm-hmm.
Then there are two additional gender orientation expressions. The one that these people seem to want everybody to embody, differentiated. In other words, childish, as in you haven't developed your masculine femininity. This
Right.
is this is the gender orientation that has the least amount of actual resilience, self-actualization, ability to deal with negative consequences. It's the most helpless, essentially. It's the most
Mm-hmm.
childlike and it's the most helpless. That's the one that they seem to be continuously browbeating. And then there's a fourth orientation, and that is androgynous. And that means it's a person who isn't necessarily any less masculine, but has integrated the feminine. If they're a man, they've integrated the feminine sort of psychological toolkit. And if they're a woman, they've integrated the masculine toolkit. And like I said, you could have a woman with this gender orientation expression who looks like Belle, but as long as she's able to see how her actions have consequences and is orientated towards wanting to see that and holding herself to a standard of responsibility, then she has that kind of a gender expression orientation. That, in terms of resilience and the ability to the best psychological outcomes, the very best gender orientation is androgynous. So a person who has both the masculine and the feminine in terms of their psychological toolkit. The second best is masculine. The third is feminine. And the least, like really down, like trailing the pack by miles, is undifferentiated. And
Mm-hmm.
that's the one that these people want. They want people who simply listen and obey.
Yeah.
and don't think for themselves. They don't recognize how they're being impacted by the corporations that these individuals advocate, or the governments that these individuals advocate. They don't
Yeah.
recognize it, and they have no ability, no faith in their actions affecting any positive consequences. They're completely mired and drowning, and that's what they want. They don't want feminine or masculine individuals, and they probably would call that gender fluid.
Yep.
Well, we
Okay.
already know. We already have a label for it. It's undifferentiated. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So, Mel Magazine continues. Um, According to this variant, now splashed across a number of social media channels, again, he's expressing to us this is a popular thing. I don't like this, so I'm gonna try and basically put the stink on it so no one wants to touch it.
Mm.
Men were once manly but weakened by the feminizing influence of modernity. The solution, apparently, is to get incredibly muscular to aggressive rave music. Role models include boxers, UFC fighters, weightlifters, Arnold Schwarzenegger, Bruce Lee, the Spartans of 300, Patrick Bateman, although I haven't seen any of these videos with Patrick Bateman in them, but okay. The Troops, Knights of the Crusades, Hulk Hogan, Genghis Khan, LeBron James, and of course, the occasional Nazi officer. Notice how he's framing that, okay? You can, like, LeBron James and a Nazi, what are you talking about? It's weird that you can make these associations, but that's what he wants to do. In YouTube and TikTok comments, men register their approval for this content, and some say they use it as motivation before a workout. The majority, though, are interested in what you might call the dogma of manhood, as it's presented here. This myth of greatness diminished or under attack. Because, it's totally not happening, guys. The problems of feminism and eroding gender norms. Seeing videos like these gives me hope that society isn't too far gone, writes one fan. We're only toxic to those who view truth as poison, says another. And they're referring to toxic masculinity because the narrative around toxic masculinity, I think, is what a lot of these guys are reacting to. They're being told by this conjecture, I don't know what else to call it because it's not based in anything real, that the just being a man is bad. And these men are like, no, that doesn't sound right to me. And we're talking about men, by the way, and this is why I think this is kind of encouraging, that there's a pretty good chance that they have lived most of their early years in a feminine dominated environment, whether it's because they didn't know their father or they did, but, for whatever reason, they were more involved, like they were going to school, they were surrounded by women growing up, and the entire time, masculinity, even in small ways, and it doesn't matter what part of the country you're in or what part of the world, gets attacked. And I think one of the reasons for it is the assumption is, well, they can take it. And these men, they grow a little older, they start to become interested in women, and they start to trying to figure out what they're going to do with their life, whether they're going to start a business or what skills they want to learn or whatever. And they're continuously faced with this hostility. And then when you grow up on the internet, it's magnified. And I think that's the reason why these guys are responding to this toxic masculinity thing, and they're basically saying, no, I'm not putting up with this anymore, because some men said, guys, you don't have to do this. You don't have to listen to any of these people that are telling you that you're a piece of shit. And I think that that's what these videos are for. It's for those men. They're trying to reach out to each other. You know what I mean? And I think it's a growing trend, because there is a sentiment that these men are reaching for, that they're trying to get closer to.
This is actually, he's really soft pedaling what his grimoire instructs.
Yeah.
Because they're constantly attacking masculinity as toxic and criminal and something that should be done away with, and that it doesn't belong in the future. I mean, really, okay, women can have the future. They're rejecting modernity. and embracing masculinity. You have said the future is female. So if men want to embrace the future, they can't embrace the masculinity. Isn't that what you guys say? Like, you are so hostile to masculinity. So hostile to it.
Yep.
And then you soft pedal the fact that you are so hostile to it. And so saying that the myth of greatness, you mean the myth that men have made all of the societies that have, or all of the strides that made our society possible. So most of the innovations, most of the risk taking, almost all of the death in war, like all of the death in war, basically, effectively, in order to construct an incredibly safe and secure society. And you're calling that a myth. And then what is the problems of feminism? Yes, feminism has a huge problem when it comes to labeling men as toxic and villainous. What do you think it means when you say that the majority of men's actions in society have been to give themselves unearned privilege at the expense of women? Okay? What do you think that means? And then you talk about toxic masculinity without actually being able to identify any positive masculine traits that are masculine. That is, they are just as associated with men and masculinity as you wish to associate negative and toxic traits with men and masculinity. So name the positive ones. You can't do that. I have asked feminist after feminist after feminist, and the only ones to me are not feminists. I'm like, oh, well, are you a feminist? No, okay, well, I'm not. This question is not for you. It's for the people who call themselves feminists. Can you identify positive masculine traits that you associate with men, boys, and masculinity in the same way as you associate toxic traits? The answer is no. So yes, you are constantly trying to strip young men and all men of an identity based on their sexual being. I mean, it's hilarious that they talk about gender fluidity. What they're actually attempting to do is gender monopole. So we're all feminine, all female, like undifferentiated female, like child, girl cell, and then everything else is just abomination, cancer cell, and abortion.
Yep.
As a failed girl cell, essentially.
Yeah. Is it femcell? Femcell? Okay.
No. Okay. Yeah. Very cute. Very cute.
Yeah.
Eve Ensler's girl cell. That nonsense that she talked about.
Yeah. No, I know. All right. So one more clip. So, you know, or what? Not clip. The part of the highlighted bit that I wanted to show. He says, they don't care. It doesn't matter. Stop asking. Accept the vision. The avatars for our supposedly hopeless modern culture are all picked from the usual marginalized groups that conservatives like to disparage. Again, he's making claims that absolutely have nothing to stand on, so that people won't even look into it.
These Nazis, these people are Nazis, and yet look at them. They're choosing for their Nazi symbolism all kinds of black men and Asian men and men who have disabilities. Don't they know?
Yeah,
this isn't
so weird. Yeah, he'd probably say something like, well, they're just tricking you. They don't really care about those people. Which
okay, this has got to be the worst, the most ridiculous attempt at like sleight of hand and sophistry. He starts off by saying there's full of Nazi symbolism. These are Nazis. And then he ends with, don't these Nazis realize their symbolism isn't Nazi?
Yeah. Don't they realize that they're actually, like, you know, worshiping Mike Tyson? Yes, they do. They do.
Because you're wrong.
Yeah, maybe it's because you're fucking wrong. Or worse. No, I don't even think this. I mean, he is wrong, but I think more explicitly, he's lying.
And it's not stupidity, it's dishonesty. He's lying to anyone who might be foolish enough to read these articles not for the express purpose of ridicule. He's lying. That's it. He's lying about men. And this is supposed to be a men's magazine. I hope to God, not only do no men read these pages, except people like us who are responding to them, but I hope no women do either, because this is not in any way going to give you insight into men.
But men like me and you, Ryan.
Yeah, like men like you and I.
Sorry, I just felt
no. It's okay. It's just so.
The rest
it's so
of the paragraph. I read a little bit ahead. I don't understand it.
It's so exhausting. It's so exhausting.
I know the words separately, but I'm failing to put them together into a coherent thought that this man is making.
Yeah.
But is it okay to call him a man?
I mean, yeah, I'll call him a male.
Male.
I'd say he's a male. Yeah, like I'm just like, you know,
I don't know if is that too masculine? Like, is that too Like, what I'm saying is, if I call the guy who wrote if I call the unspecified personage who penned this missive a man, is that buying into the
I think it is. And I think it would hurt his feelings, because he obviously he doesn't want to be seen as a man, you know.
Well, that's because it's bad, you know, in his lexicon.
I mean,
and
also
that, really.
How could he possibly know if he's a man? Is he a biologist? We'll have to look up his
You're
CV to find out. I mean, otherwise, like, who knows? It could.
Yeah.
Anyway,
okay.
So I'll finish this really quick. Only this format gives that hatred a positive or motivational spin by encouraging men to pump iron as an act of resistance in a world gone soft. It's not that. It's not just that, though. But go ahead, Allison.
The avatars for our supposedly hopeless, the usual marginalized group conservatives like to disparage. You would think at this point this guy would be like, you know, something's wrong. Something's off.
This isn't adding up. No, he's just like, you know what?
He's going ahead. They'll
eat this up. If I called them a Nazi like 5 times, they'll eat this up. They'll ignore all of the imagery of like men from all walks of life doing masculine things. Not even just men lifting weights either, or being athletic, but like men being honorable, men cooperating, men building society, men encouraging each other, men celebrating each other's achievements. That's what the video is. It's, you know, or the videos. And they are pretty encouraging.
This is where this is confusing. Only this format gives that hatred. You mean the hatred that you just imagined? Based on so the content has Nazis or something. I didn't see any Nazis, but whatever. I think maybe he was talking about the Nazi who was on the third.
The Reddit Nazi,
the Reddit Nazi that wasn't
or the Olympic Nazi.
The Nazi that ranked third after the black dude that totally wasted him. Okay, but what's interesting is the absolute contradiction. I'm going to point this out here. The avatars for our supposedly hopeless modern culture are all picked from the usual marginalized group that conservatives like to disparage. So right here, he's saying all of the symbolism in these videos, and I assume there's not any like spoken word. All of the images are from marginalized groups, and yet but he's saying that is Nazi propaganda. Because it's showing only like there's so many contradictions in this writing. How does anybody read it and come to a conclusion? Like, it's like putting your brain through like a spaghetti noodle crank. You know what I mean?
I do.
Spaghetti noodle.
I do think it's really telling, though. I do really think it's telling that he is essentially equating an aspirational, romanticized masculine to fascism. I don't think that's an accident. I know.
But
I think he. I know.
According to him, they're picked from marginalized groups.
Yeah, no, I know. And there are a lot of men of different walks of life in these videos. In fact, it's probably like 50-50 or something. But it's interesting because he's still, essentially, it's revealing the truth about progressivism, which is that the cause and the source or the root of all of their anger, all of their hatred, all of their of their enemies is first masculinity itself. It's at the root of the whole thing, because a strong, independently thinking black man who wants to be essentially live in a free country, he would be considered the enemy by these people. I wouldn't even say white, because that's just a tool to get what they want. But it boils all the way down to masculinity is the problem, because masculinity is inherently disagreeable, independent, individualistic, merit-oriented, cooperative. It doesn't, it is all of these things.
Cooperative, voluntarily cooperative.
Voluntarily cooperative, right? It
has
has
without government breathing down your neck, essentially.
Government breathing on, that's not cooperative, right? Because the threat of force is there, but it is inherently all of those things, which all go against what they think, and by extension femininity too, because femininity would be, in a healthy relationship between the genders, would be in support of all that, but they hate that, because ultimately it comes down to those things, especially the fact that men organize in vertical hierarchies, in whether it is a cooperative or even hostile. But in a hostile climate, the hierarchies tend to have a very high peak where there's very few men at the very top and a lot of men at the bottom. But if it's in a healthy, voluntary, cooperative hierarchy, it's actually much more evenly spread out, right? Because the men, they know, okay, this is my place on this team. This is what my position is. This is what my job is. This is my function. And of course, these people hate that.
Less to win. If you think about it, in a society where it's more lateral and there's more pair bonding, I mean, you're not, what are you going to, by becoming the richest man in the world, what are you going to, I mean, in this society, you have to be in the top 10% to be considered a partner to a woman. So what are the rest going to do? They're just going to try to locate sources of positive sense of self somewhere. And often that comes from joining cults of personality, like you see around Elon Musk. Not so much around Bill Gates for whatever reason, but
he's not one of those guys. It's the Musks and the Trumps, and this is the thing I try to tell to people, when they're MRAs that are extremely anti-Trump, and I say, well, there is a reason this guy is popular, especially with men. Yeah, and so you have to understand that. It doesn't matter that you think it's a bad example. It doesn't matter, because there aren't a lot of men stepping up to be that example, or Ron DeSantis, for example, too, the Florida man. So if you understand what's happening, it then becomes very natural for it doesn't bother you. You get it. So it's well, if you don't like the person they're rallying around, be the person they should be rallying around. That's what I would say, or seek that man out. Okay, do you have to twist some arms? Twist.
Oh no, wait, no, I gotta get this out first, and then we'll twist arms.
All right.
Okay. All right. I'm gonna explain. So he's using the imagery they chose to support his allegation that they are all haters, like Nazis, right? And then he's saying that all of the imagery is picked from the usual margin groups.
Yeah.
This is an incoherent thought. It's incoherent. You can't simultaneously say they're using imagery from all marginal, and that makes it Nazi. See, that's what he's doing. And then he's saying only this format gives that hatred, which he's saying comes from them using Nazi imagery, but that Nazi imagery is all marginalized groups.
Yeah, okay, the Nazi imagery of Muhammad Ali and Bruce Lee.
Yeah, depiction of diversity, masculine diversity, is Nazism, because it's not depiction of masculine diversity, which means it's hatred according to this person. Do you see what I'm saying? He is arguing in a circle, in a ridiculous circle. And only this format gives that hatred, which he's saying is a result of pictures that they've chosen, the imagery that they've chosen, which is all marginalized groups, incidentally, a positive or motivational spin by encouraging men to pump iron as an act of resistance in a world gone soft.
Yep.
Yeah, but they're just doing it for themselves.
Yep. They're just doing it for themselves.
Ultimately, this is them saying,
it's personal motivation. Yes.
I've gone soft. I want to pursue excellence. And it doesn't matter what the world says. That's what this is all about. Maybe that's why they've used traditionally marginalized groups. Maybe that was the black man who smoked the Nazi in the Olympics. Because it's like, it doesn't matter what they think. I'm going to pursue excellence, and I'm going to become better than men who think that they're good just by virtue of their biology. I'm going to become better than a white Nazi guy who thinks his genetics made him the Ubermensch through simple excellence.
That's funny though. Yeah, it's funny though, because the Nazi in the name of the guy who beat him, it's on the tip of my tongue. Like, I swear I'm like on the verge of remembering it. If one of you guys in the chat remembers the black guy who beat the Nazi in the Olympics, put it in the chat and I'll say it out loud, because I wanna say his name. It's like right on the tip of my tongue. I just almost got it. But anyway,
Jesse
it's
Owens.
funny. Oh, Jesse Owens. Yes, that's what it was. Yes, Jesse Owens. All right, but anyway, the thing that's really interesting about that too is that I think, honestly, the Nazi, because I don't remember his name, he was doing that for the collective, right? The Nazis were there in the same way that I think the Soviets were in an Olympic Games, and all of their, supposedly their athletes were all juicing and stuff, and it's like basically the plot line for Rocky IV. But like the Nazi was doing that for a collective goal, right? Like, he was trying to do this for Nazi Germany. And of course, Hitler was all about that. He wanted to demonstrate the superiority of the Aryan race, and that's why he was trying to win. But they actually had a collectivist approach to this whole thing, which is, in my view, less masculine than Jesse Owens doing this. I mean, yeah, he did it for, like, I guess he was running for the United States, maybe. I'm not sure. But he was, but I think ultimately he was doing it for himself. It wasn't like some sense of like the collective, the motherland or whatever. It was like, you know what I'm saying? And it's weird because I think that, well, obviously they want to draw a link between Nazi Germany and masculinity itself. And that's why they're working so hard to do this. But I don't really think that Nazi Germany was all that masculine. I don't know. I mean, I don't think it symbolized that really, because it's inherently collectivist. And
if you look at masculinity or masculine gender orientation expression as a very strong emphasis on the autonomy of the individual, Nazi Germany was deeply feminine. Yeah, because it was all about collectives of people. So you treat people based on collective behaviors, or not behaviors, collective genetic identity. As opposed to treating people in terms of their individual. To treat people, to be much more focused on treating people based on the content of their character, or how their actions affect outcomes in the greater world, or moral responsibilities. That tends to be a more masculine focus. Female focus, I mean, you could say that it's sort of maybe a combination at, I guess, the Ubermensch, the men defending their women genetically.
Yeah, sure.
But again, that's very tribalist. It's not really focused on the individual as a moral actor at all, or recognizing groups in terms of their moral, the individual, like not recognizing the individual as more important than the group that he or she belongs to. I would say that's more of a masculine thing. To be more focused on actions, responsibilities, and standards of achievement. So I wouldn't. To be honest, I think that Nazi Germany probably would be more feminine in a way because of that
I would
focus
argue,
on the genetic, on the tribal.
There was, and I don't think this is probably I've mentioned this before. There was a women's suffrage movement going on that was big in Germany.
Wasn't it women that elected?
Yeah, I think it was mostly women who. I don't know if they could vote on that because I mean Hitler was voted to be chancellor, but there was a lot of women who supported him. I'll put it that way.
Me and Mike did a ragening on one of these ode to white women.
Oh yeah, whoa. Yeah, I remember that.
Anyway, but we were like, when you look at that, the center of white supremacy is the idolization of white.
Mm-hmm.
And that is very, very gynocentric.
Mm-hmm.
It's not idolization of all women. It's just idolization of white women who share a genetic component. And I would actually argue, and this is getting a little, so, I apologize in advance. This is going to be some serious men's issues. I would argue that white supremacy is a failure to differentiate in terms of your masculine identity from your mother, because you are now only seeing the good part of you as a man is the white part of you, not the male part of you, not the masculine part of you, but the white part of you. And then you see yourself as expendable in service of the characteristic you share with your mother, which is your whiteness. So you see yourself as expendable in service to that. And that is, I think, like that's when the psychology stops developing into like a very adult masculine psychology and just starts focusing on, I am expendable as a man because I don't have value as a man except in service to the women that I superficially appear to be like, or my mother or the women of my group. So, I mean, that's my opinion, but yeah, other people might have different opinions about that. Okay.
Arm twisting. You have to do that? Or yes, look at the thing to see if we have any.
Yeah, I should look at
donations.
Okay.
Help.
Yes, we do.
Oh, good.
Some that are a little confusing. All right, so I want to thank. I guess I should do a call out to Vesa, or Dark World Moon, who put in $500, but that was several hours before.
Nice. So let me play some Alex Jones for you.
Yeah,
here we go. Hold on.
Run a hot bath, get a straight razor, and just get to work.
Yikes.
Get to work.
No, I mean don't do that. But it's funny that he said that. Don't do that. Yeah, but it's funny that he said that.
Will he get taken off of YouTube for saying that? Because we might.
Nah, I don't think so.
All right.
It's just a soundbite. So I've heard a lot worse.
Yeah, but they're always riding around. So PLM gives me $5. So thank you, PLM. I'm not going to say the rest of it because I suspect that might actually be a name.
All right, here's some Anna Kasparian for that one.
Am I saying that I'm better than you? I guess I'm going a little further than you are. Yeah, I'm fucking better than you, okay? Much better than you. You are garbage.
Thank you, Anna. I know. I'm not even your total.
We are garbage.
Okay.
Garbage people.
So if you want to, before I continue, I just want to remind everybody, if you find, please go to feedthebadger.com/project/badger-media-blitz. We only have a few days left to finish this fundraiser, and it does make sure that we are able to continue to do this work, specifically for this month, Brian and Hannah and HBR in general. So once again, that's feedthebadger.com/project/badger-media-blitz. You can also go to feedthebadger.com and follow. All right, I want to thank Omega 215A, and I'm hoping that is not your name.
I don't think it is. I'm going to go on a limb and say I don't think
$10.
so.
$10. So thank you.
$10. All right, let's do. Here's a Bidenism.
And by the way, I sit on the stand, and it get hot. I got hairy legs that turn blonde in the sun. And the kids used to come up and reach in the pool and rub my leg down so it was straight, and then watch the hair come back up again. They'd look at it. So I learned about roaches. I learned about kids jumping on my lap. And I've loved kids jumping on my lap.
That will never get old. It's right up there with corn pop.
I just want to say something. Sometimes I wonder if when I go on a weird ass tangent, if I don't sound like that.
Next time, Alice, you should start by saying that you have hairy legs. I'm not saying that you actually do, but you should start your statement. You might get people's attention. So,
yeah. Okay. All right. So I also want to shout out to Alp. I'm just going to say Alp because I have no idea if this could be possibly a name. So I'm not going to go any further. Who started up a subscription for $15. Thank you, Alp.
Ooh, very nice.
As the show is going. Thank you.
All right. Here we go.
Yeah.
Women were still viewed as chattel.
Yeah.
Just 100 or so years ago.
Again, I'm going to go to the super chows, but I just want to remind everybody it's really critical. So please, if you even like $5, $10, every bit helps. Every bit. So just take a moment to go to feedthebadger.projects/badger-user badger-media-blitz, or go to Feed the Badger and pop-ups and put a few shekels in the hat. We're running out of time for arm twist. I will get one more by the end. Okay. All right.
So
I gotta see
is
the
that
super chows.
Yeah, super chows. Do it.
Yes.
Do it.
I will do it.
Grab him by the pussy.
All right. So James Memes gives us $5 and $10. So you realize that James means that you can only send one chat through. Essentially gave us $15 for this chat. Soldier on, Badgers. You saved my life, and I can't wait to give back a portion of your work. Aw.
Thank you.
Really sweet. And somebody in our Discord has reacted with a cute fox meme. And Anonymous gives us $100 through just the tip and says, "Twist me harder, boss."
Whoa,
thank
you.
Thank you very much. That's really nice. Thank you.
Yes. I think some people were theorizing this is like Findom, or I don't think it really, whatever. But I do want to know, did you intend to put that through the actual fundraiser, or just give us the tip for that? I don't know. Maybe send me a message.
Yeah, it make sure it went to the right place. What's the difference though? Well, I see what you're saying, because the fundraiser is we have to fill the bar, right?
Mm-hmm. We have to fill the bar. So this doesn't fill the bar.
Yeah.
But it allows us to continue to exist more, I guess. It goes into the kitty. And everything I try to save as much as I can be quite difficult in our year, this year of the beer bug. This third year of the beer bug. But anyway, so once again, go to feedthebadger.com. Let's put whatever you can in the hat. Just go there and open up the website and for me. Okay.
Look around.
Yeah, look around.
All right, so there's only a little bit of this article left, so I'll just finish it off.
Oh, thank God.
Yeah, it's literally like two more sentences or something. So the truth is that those targets are innocent bystanders with pretty much no influence over what these dudes find valuable or admirable. Oh, so I guess he's talking about the marginalized men are just being used in a cynical way, getting this upset that they have the autonomy to be and create community as themselves. Well, that's not very manly, is it? Then again, that's never been the point. And that's the end of his screed about this. Again, it's just really weird.
Okay, let's go back because I was just closing some stuff up. Did I just hear him appeal to manliness to condemn other men?
Oh, you mean that last sentence? I
Yeah,
think
that's
he's
what
I think he's being
ridiculous.
I think he's being sarcastic. He's saying the truth is that those targets, so the avatars for supposedly hopeless modern culture, picked from the usual marginalized groups that conservatives
Those
like to disparage.
targets?
Yeah, he's calling them targets. That, well, he's implying that
Do you
the
honestly
Nazis. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
do you honestly think that Mike Tyson's going to have a problem with being a figure of motivation for people to, or men to pursue excellence in sport?
No, no.
Seriously,
Everyone loves Mike Tyson no matter what he does. Like,
Mel
like
is in a
seriously,
race.
the Robin
Mel seems
Givens
to be in a-
thing. Go
Mel
ahead.
seems to be in a race to take the most innocuous aspects of being masculine and frame them as horrible, and then complain that men are picking up that they're taking the most innocuous aspects of being masculine and framing them as horrible and saying, hey, we'd like to feel good about ourselves. Then they're like, these men want to feel good about themselves. It's not like we're doing anything. I think masculinity is horrible.
Yeah.
Okay, lack of self-awareness.
Oh, absolutely,
Have it.
absolutely. And yeah, so he's referring to them, and he says the truth is that those targets are innocent bystanders with pretty much no
What?
influence over what these dudes find
Oh, this
valuable
is why I
or
didn't understand.
admirable. Getting this upset that they have the autonomy to be and create community as themselves, well, that's not very manly, is it?
That's what you're doing.
Yeah, of course.
Literally, these guys are just off on their own saying, wow, Mike Tyson, very inspirational. You know, like Michael Jordan, inspirational. Dude, Jesse Owens, inspirational. Bill Lieb, inspirational. I'm going to go do something masculine. And what are you doing? You're complaining that they're off doing what they want to do. Like, nowhere in any of this have they said that, oh, marginalized men can't also go off and be masculine. They're taking like literally this guy says they're using images of men in order to inspire them to become more masculine. And that's Nazism.
Yep.
That's the reverse, because Nazis would have said you shouldn't be inspired by marginalized men.
Of course.
They would put those marginalized men's genetic inheritance over their demonstration of persistence, pursuing academic probably as well, but athletic excellence or any kind of excellence. They would say that their genetic inheritance than their actions in pursuing excellence, which is what makes Nazism less masculine. Because men are about merit and they're about pursuing excellence. And the genetic inheritance, as you can hear, because they are showing disabled men who have, let's be frank, sort of a bad hand when it comes to genetic inheritance, and yet they are still pursuing excellence, because the point is the pursuit of excellence regardless if you're black, brown, Hindu, Muslim, Christian,
gay,
Northern
disabled,
European, gay, disabled. It's the pursuit of excellence. And that is not Nazism. It's actually very much excluded in Nazism, because it's not about the pursuit of excellence in Nazism. It's about whose mom was white in Nazism. Okay?
Yeah.
And that's why Nazism is less masculine.
Yeah. It's also the reason why amongst Germans, more German men were less in support of the Nazi Party during the time of the Nazi Party in Germany. So, like, you know, we already know that most Germans that fought in World War II were not Nazis. They were just fighting for their country. And I think that of them, the men were even less interested or attached to the Nazi identity.
Well, we don't know for
overall.
sure. We don't know for sure. Well, maybe you do. Maybe you researched it. I wouldn't go out on a limb, but I would say that overall, because men generally will tell them to. Overall, I think.
Well, they'll do what they're told because they want to protect their families.
Yeah, and protect their women, and that's understandable. It's laudable. But overall, the idea of putting a genetic heritage ahead of pursuit of excellence as an autonomous individual is not an masculine imperative, at least insofar as when I look at this and what comes out of the research.
Yep.
That's not a masculine imperative. That is more of a feminine aligned imperative, which, you know, it is the whole, I'm going to protect the women of my tribe, but it's about protecting and providing for the women of, which, you know, in itself is a masculine imperative, but when you take it overall,
it can be exploited.
Well, very gynocentric.
Yeah.
It's ultimately gynocentric. But anyway,
Yeah.
I mean, that's what I would say about that. But I don't know.
It's sort of like I would say it's sort of similar to Islamic men in, sort of Islamic dominated, like politically Islamic countries.
I would say
there's probably a lot of similarity.
I would say that our focus on this strong focus on individual autonomy and excellence is a much more masculine orientated culture.
Mm-hmm.
A focus on individual over genetic factors or tribalism or religious affiliation is a much more masculine focus, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Because it's about focusing on what each individual moral agent shares and brings and the meritocracy that they operate within, as opposed to focusing on protecting your woman. And it comes out of like a very, like, if you look at, for example, I've been researching, or I did one of those lecture series on Renaissance Italy. Like those cultures, those city-states that embraced this kind of civic humanism, which is very much the morality, the individual moral act and his effect on the world. Those city-states that tended to embrace that actually had a very masculine public life, and they, despite having a very masculine public life, a very masculine and on meritocracy, they still very much supported their women. There were things put in place to support women, but on the other hand, there was that strong demarcation that this is a masculine world, and this is what we do in it. And when you're looking at those cultures that manage of individual autonomy, women tend to be excluded from public life, and it's probably because when women get into situations, they start reestablishing this kind of tribalism where men are judged less by their ability to cooperate with each other to create a civic harmony with meritocracy, so cooperative competition with each other, and then they start focusing more on extremely violent competition over who can protect his women folk best.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Like, I know I'm going. Am I doing another Biden? Like, I don't know.
No,
maybe.
You're good. You're good.
I'm good. Okay, that's good.
Anyway, so that's the end of the article, and I'm just going through some of the other images that these videos put out, and again, it's, you know, I mean, the guy at Mel, I couldn't tell you like what his real, like if he has a real goal here other than to simply say the conversation around masculinity should not be taking place unless it has my, oversight and approval. And I find that extremely annoying. And that's, but like, the white pill for me anyway, is that there is something here that men are responding to, that they are romanticizing. There's a sentiment that's being expressed, and it doesn't matter what Mel magazine says. It does seem like, the guys who are watching this content, they really are drawn to this, and I think that that's good because it means at the very least they're asking these questions,
So this is like, I think this is David Goggins. I hope that I'm saying his name right. He's like a Marine or a SEAL or something, and he wrote this great book about essentially, you know, masculine resilience. And here's like, so I don't know. It's just, to me, there's something really cool about it. I'm glad that this exists, and
yeah. I got a Superchow.
Okay.
From Polaris. Once again, he gave us two things. I don't know if he meant to run through the fundraiser, but it ended up going to double Superchows. So the left worships weakness because it gives them power. I think they worship a specific kind of weakness. They worship this undifferentiated kind of quality because, again, it does give them power over people. What they would really hate to see is not undifferentiated people, but people who basically managed to integrate both their masculine and feminine parts of their psyche. I think those kind of people these guys couldn't deal with at all. Like they just run right over them. They want undifferentiated, childlike, learned helpless people without any kind of sense of themselves. So they just listen and obey.
Yep.
And it's not like androgyny isn't, I guess, somewhat gender fluid. It's just the kind of gender fluid that nobody, because they're self-actualized and they know what they want and they're fully adult. Okay.
Yeah. Someone said that I just wanted to like explain myself a little bit. James Memes, I hope I'm not butchering how that's pronounced, said, I find it extremely annoying, Brian softening the blow right at the end. First of all, I'm not taking this personally, so don't worry about it. But I wanted to get angry about this article, but I can't really get mad about it because obviously most of what he said is extremely predictable. But I am, more than that, I'm heartened by the fact that this content exists and that men are responding to it and they're ignoring what people like Mel Magazine are saying. They're literally saying, I don't care what you have to say. We've tried it your way. Everything's gone to shit. I want to do this. And that is heartening, in my opinion. And, men who are sharing this with each other, even if they don't really know a lot about it, and it's just sort of like a gut feeling they have, that's king shit. Those are kings, in my opinion. Okay, I got a super chat from Amasang for $5, and he says, "From strength, learn gentleness. From gentleness, strength will prevail." Master Goken, Street Fighter 2, the animated movie. That's I have that one on DVD. Kind of an obscure anime reference there. Okay, so that's it. I got nothing else, Allison. I don't know if there's.
Well, I know that the good doctor one.
Oh yeah. Ranimer Cam wants to put out a Munted News, and he doesn't want it overlapping.
He doesn't want to crush us.
Yeah, right.
He's like being elbow slam our freaking,
really kind.
Yeah, he's being very kind. Yeah. All right, so yeah, again, we're doing our /project/
You're breaking up again. Hold on. Yeah, I don't know. Is there someone using internet in your building?
No, not at all. Not at all. There's nobody here, and I'm now on
Skylink.
Satellite. How often was I? Yeah, Skylink. Starlink.
Starlink.
I'm pretty sure Skylink is. Nobody wants to be on Skylink, but because it's isn't it the AI in the Terminator?
No, that's Skynet. I got them mixed up. Yeah, Starlink is what you're on.
All right,
yeah.
And then I was screwed up too. All right, have I been cutting in and out throughout?
A little, yeah, but it's okay.
Is it more or less?
It sounds fine now. So
okay,
more,
all right. So
a little bit less. I'd say a little less.
Okay, so 2 days left on the fundraiser, so please do support us if you can. feedthebadger.com/project/badger-media-blitz, or go to feedthebadger.com and put and follow the pop-up. And you can always just leave us a tip. It's just a tip. It doesn't go to the fundraiser. And we will endeavor to do the tip. And whatever you do put through just feedthebadger.com/just the tip just goes to us. Like we see it. Nobody else does. Nobody else cares about it. PayPal isn't looking at it and examining every single possible micro cryptics transmissions from Russian Alpha Centauri or whatever the hell they're doing. And of course, YouTube doesn't get their little fingers in it either. So that's feedthebadger.com/just the tip. If you send a message through, we will endeavor to read it on stream if it's between streams. But don't cross the stream.
No, of course not. Okay, so if you guys like this video, please hit like, subscribe if you're not already subscribed to the channel, follow us on Rumble and on DLive and on Twitch and Facebook and Twitter, so that you can like watch our videos in case YouTube does something with us, which
I don't Swash managed to do this, but nobody else has. Like they've all, like Swash managed to get a super chat and a support to the monthly fundraiser, but none of the rest of you have managed to do his trickery. I'm surprised. I didn't know it was that difficult. Maybe I shouldn't have mentioned it.
Yeah.
Anyway, continue.
Probably should have included the virtual Rubik's Cube as a way of verifying that you're not a robot. Okay, but anyway, subscribe if you're not already subscribed to all of our channels. Hit the bell for notifications so you know when our streams will go live. And please leave us a comment. Let us know what you guys think about this discussion. Check out some of these videos. And, remember, these guys are not necessarily red-pilled. They're just young men that are... They feel like something is wrong. If you want to make the Matrix analogy, you could say they're like Neo when he was still going through his normal life before he was approached by Morpheus and the gang. Yeah, sure.
Okay, so let's imagine our entire society is like a mechanic's shop, and then over a couple generations we start removing half the tools, and then one day these guys come into the shop and they're saying there's something wrong, I can't fix anything. Well, it's because half the tools have been removed from the tool. It's as simple as that.
Yeah. And yeah, men are, and then of course when men say, oh, maybe we should, let's all go to the gym together, or let's all get involved in this sport. And then they're surrounded by think pieces and videos and, media content that shames all of that. And of course it makes them feel like, well, wait a minute, why is that bad? So that's kind of where I think they are. And
one last thing.
Yeah.
This guy who wrote, what's his name again?
Oh, it's Miles Klee. He's always the guy who's writing, like, he usually writes about, how awful MRAs are.
So, and basically we're awful because we support the notion that men should be able to have their own identity. Okay, but that last line. Oh, Miles Klee is Mel's resident tank top dirtbag shit poster and meme expert. No, you're not. He's the author of the novel Ivyland. Oh, novel. Oh, I also got the whiff of a failed writer there. A failed fiction writer. Maybe one day I'm going to go through and tear his novel apart. Okay, that would be fun. Yeah. Go up a bit. Like, just go up a little bit. Yeah, let's see the last. Oh, no, the last there. Oh, he has a final line there. Just that last kick in the pants. Getting this upset that they have the autonomy to be and create community as themselves, well, that's not manly. So he is actually appealing to manliness to condemn these. But who's getting upset that they have the autonomy to make community the way they want it to be? Miles? You are.
Yeah.
You're the one doing that. They're just doing their thing.
It's weird that he gets so upset that other men are doing what they want. Yeah, like it's such a feminine thing, right? Like men all get together and they're like, let's all go bowling, and women are like, what are you doing? Where are you going? Right? When are you coming home? Like that's what this guy's doing. When are you guys going to stop doing that?
According to the statistics, women engage in more controlling abuse. So yeah, that kind of, you can't do anything unless I sort of a female characteristic. if you want to look at the statistics.
Yep.
But I would honestly say it's enlightened female. It's the kind of female that what I would say would be enlightened is there could be the feminine approach of saying, well, I only see you going out in the boys in terms of its impact on me and the negative impact it has on me. And then there's also the feminine that says, you know, you're happy and I can see that and that makes me happy.
Yep.
Because recognizing how things is something that women do. But it doesn't mean that women can only recognize how things impact them. They can also see how things impact other people and feel that. That makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
I would say that's both. That is both. But one is more of a unenlightened, unactualized, unrealized feminine that's very solipsistic, and the other is enlightened. All right. I just wanted to put that out there.
Okay. All right. So
because it can get really like it's if you say that women can't be better, then they have no incentive to be better, really.
Yep.
That's all.
Yep.
I know that's an odd place to end it.
No, it's okay. So anyways, guys,
Yes.
like I said, like, share, subscribe, follow, bell, comment, all of that, especially the share part. Sharing is caring. We want more people to at least, see these conversations, even if they may not be ready for it. I think that they are absolutely crucial. So thank you guys so much
These are
for
challenging conversations, I will say.
Did we just get, yeah, they can be challenging, but it's okay. I try to, boil it down to something a little simpler if I can. So that at least people have like an entry point and they're not just like looking at some like, fifth dimensional orb trying to figure out where how do you get in? How do I get in here?
How do I get in? How do I get in on this woman's
I'm just going to open up one of the multi-dimensional sphincters so that they can like slide in and get like a sense of what's going on. Anyway, thanks guys for coming on the show. And we'll talk to you all.
Maybe
in the
you
next
got
one.
rid of that old yee ass haircut you got. You get some bitches on your dick. Oh, better yet, maybe Tanisha will call your dog ass if she ever stop fucking with that brain surgeon, the lawyer she fucking with. Nigga.
Oh my God.
Men's rights activists are machines, dude. Okay? They are literal machines. They are talking point machines. They are impossible to fucking deal with, especially if you have like a couple dudes who have good memory on top of that too. Holy shit, you're fucked.